Welcome, writers, readers, and friends to the Authors Talking Bookish podcast. I'm Donna Norman Carbone, author of All That Is Sacred.
And I'm Hope Gibbs, author of Where the Grass Grows Blue.
We're two debut writers traditionally published by a small publishing house, bringing to you all the experiences that we as authors learn the hard way, so you don't have to.
We'll give you insights from the inception of a book idea to publication and beyond. And along the way, we'll share our love of books from the writer's perspective.
Welcome back, friends. This is episode 73. And today we are celebrating our third anniversary. And the theme for this episode is then versus now. I'm Donna Carbone, and I'm joined by Hope Gibbs. Hi, Hope. How are you?
I'm great, Donna. How are you doing?
I am well. I wound down with so many things, so many changes from December to now. Now I'm just able to chill and relax and take it all in. How about you?
Kind of the same thing. The last 2 months have been a ton of changes. For me, I moved. I sold my house of 16 years that I've lived in and the town. I moved about 30 minutes south of where I was living in Brentwood, Tennessee. I live in a little place called College Grove, Tennessee. So we had a big move. You can see if you're watching this on YouTube, my old house, and then that's my new house. With the dog, which I got a new dog, and my daughter graduated from college. Our last child graduated from college. And so I am officially an empty nester. So all these changes happened in a month period, on top of also throwing a dear friend's son a wedding shower at my new house in the middle of my move. So I got to say, May was a crazy time. So I'm happy to be kind of settling. I just played a USTA state tennis match this week, so that was nice. So I got to go back to some of the things I'm used to, but definitely a lot of change. And you have had a ton of change. You want to talk about what's going on with you?
I have. Well, I retired from teaching full-time this year. So if you're looking on YouTube, there's a picture of me at a retirement party that my department and the social studies department threw for me. And it was wonderful. It was an intimate gathering, lots of laughs, some tears, lots of memories. It was great. And then I went to the Board of Ed and they honored all the retirees. So that was fun too. And my son got married this month.
Yeah.
So it's been a crazy, crazy month. My middle child got married. He bought a house less than a month before his wedding. So it has just been a whirlwind for us.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like sometimes when you have life changes, they all seem to happen all at one time.
Yeah.
Like last year, there were some changes, but definitely I felt this year it was just one thing after another. So I'm embracing change.
Yeah, so am I, whether I like it or not.
Whether we like it.
Good. It's all good.
So
I'm fortunate.
Have you had any time to read with everything that's going on in your life, or what are you reading right now?
A very little bit. I finished The Trad Wife's Lie by Bella Elwood Clayton, who is actually a dear friend of mine, and she was one of my first critique partners. And
really,
there were three of us who kind of got together, critiqued each other's work over a span of years. And these other two authors, Bella is out of Australia, Melbourne, I think, Australia. And we critiqued each other's work. She got an agent, went on sub. They didn't pick up her book. The other two of us were seeking agents or seeking publication. And then we all got published right around the same time. So that was really cool. This is Bella's third book. And I don't even think she realized the trend of the trad wife with yesteryear. There's another book called The Trad Wife Secret. So if you are, if you like this genre and you liked the Stepford Wives or Big Little Lies,
Mhm.
or I compared it to the movie Don't Worry, Darling. Do you
I've
remember
never
that
seen that
movie?
movie. No, I
That
haven't.
was so good. That was with Harry Styles, Olivia, why can't I think of her last name? And Florence Pugh.
Oh,
Great movie. Um, but yeah, it's a very twisty book. It's got 3 POVs. I would highly recommend. I even think we should maybe do an episode on this trad wife trend that is
yes.
happening and talk about why it's happening, the books that are coming out, just crazy amount
Yeah.
of trad wife books.
Yesteryear is all over my Instagram feed. I feel
Yeah,
like
same.
every, you know, Bookstagram account that they've done, and it's people either love it or hate it, and that's what every
Yeah,
single. I'm very interested in it. I didn't
yeah,
even know this was a thing a few years ago, and I
yeah,
stumbled across the influencers that were promoting it, and when I heard the premise of Yesteryear, I thought that's genius. I
yeah,
loved the idea of actually putting someone in modern times who is a trad wife and put
right.
her in the era of which she is, making, all this money off of and, glorifying. So
Yeah.
I thought it was an amazing, I haven't read it, but I thought it was an amazing concept.
Yeah, I definitely want to put that on my summer TBR. I think Bella's book kind of opened up that whole realm for me,
Yeah.
and, I think it's fascinating.
I gotta say, I'm gonna put it up for those who are watching on YouTube. I love this cover. It is
Yeah.
very interesting. So I will have to put that also on my list.
Yes, it was very good. I highly recommend.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you reading these days?
So I did have a few moments where I just had to sit down and read. I couldn't just keep packing and moving and whatnot. And I stumbled across this book when I was at the airport, and it was called Sandwich by
Oh.
Catherine Newman. And a few episodes ago, we interviewed authors who wrote about women in, postmenopausal. And
Mhm.
I just happened to stumble across, and it's very much in that genre. It is a,
Oh,
a family on vacation, and they've taken their 2 grown children, and it's a woman who's kind of dealing with this midlife, moment in her life. Her children are adults, and she is going through menopause, and it's a very interesting read, and it's hard to explain. I would say if you like that kind of genre,
mhm.
if you're on a beach trip, I think it's the perfect read. I know it sounds really weird that I still didn't understand the title. Now I do, but it's called Sandwich, and so I recommend it. And it's not a very long book actually, so I highly recommend you check that out.
I will. Does it take place on Sandwich, Cape Cod?
It takes it does take place on Cape Cod,
Yeah.
so it's right up your alley.
I've
So
been I've been to Sandwich, Cape Cod. I always think that's the strangest name for a
yes.
town.
But the crazy thing is she is like this master sandwich maker for the family. When they go to the beach, she's always, and but it's really interesting because there's some secrets that
Yeah,
she's held back, and she's opening up to her daughter, and it's a very interesting read. I could relate to that stage of life.
yeah. Me too.
Yeah. So
So what do you think? Yeah.
let's talk about why we're here. I mean, so this is I can't even believe to say it. It is our 3rd anniversary.
Right.
And today we thought we would talk about then and now, how our perspectives have changed over the past 3 years or
Yeah.
really 5 years.
Yeah. As both podcasters and writers. So
Yes.
should we get to it?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question, and let me know what you think.
Okay.
How has your approach to writing changed from when you first started to today?
Um when I first started, I've talked about this a lot on our show. I didn't start out to be a writer. I started just writing my feelings down through journaling.
Mhm.
So it's hard for me to even remember what that was like.
Yeah.
My approach to writing now is, for me, I sometimes get so caught up into the fact that, oh, I did write a book that I'll never be able to do that again. I've been stuck on my second book, and I've even started my third. And I think that I lost a little confidence, which is crazy. I know it sounds crazy that now I'm a published author. I've lost maybe that freedom because I never thought anyone was ever going to read what I was writing. So it gave me this freedom just to put something down on page. And now I feel like maybe I'm a little handcuffed in my own mind that I could never repeat that. Because I mean, you've read part of my second book and you're like, you've got
Which is
something,
good.
do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I think I know it sounds strange. I think I've lost a little bit of my confidence.
Well, you know what I think it is, because I sort of experienced the same thing, especially going from book 1 to 2. I think it's that we're considering the audience now.
Hmm.
Whereas before, we kind of wrote for ourselves, maybe in the back of our mind, thinking maybe someday. But really, we were writing because, or at least I was writing because I had a joy of writing. And so I was really writing for myself.
Yeah.
When you get that first book published, it takes on a life of its own, which
Oh
I
yeah.
think you can't conceive of until you're in that moment. So I
Yeah.
totally get that.
Yeah.
And I can relate to it. But I think after my second book, I didn't feel the same between writing my second, and my third will be coming out sometime this
Yeah.
year.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question. So what did you believe about writing or publishing early on
Mhm.
that you see differently now? So how has the publishing perspective changed?
Well, I think, I thought that I would write a book and I would publish a book. I never thought about everything that happens after publishing a book. I didn't think about the social media. I didn't think about a website. I didn't think about marketing myself. And that kind of took on a life of its own. And I almost think I spend more time on that now than I do writing.
Hmm.
I really want to get back to the writing.
Yeah. But you've been really good about writing. You write, you're pretty consistent, I would say, on your writing.
Yeah, it's because I'm a teacher, and I have the summers off. So I spend a great deal of time over the summer writing. Now
Yeah.
that I'm retired, I'm going to try to schedule myself a little bit more.
Hmm.
So I have like scheduled writing times during the week, so I can write during the week throughout the year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
You know, again, when I started the thought of getting my book published, I really never thought it would get published. I'll be honest.
Mm.
I now after looking at it, I realize how lucky I am that I did get published. So I think that for me, it was more just I was completely naive to it.
Yeah.
And thank goodness that I found people that kind of helped and guided me. And so I think that that was one thing that, again, I never thought my book was going to get out there.
Yeah.
So, and I was very naive on how to query, I didn't realize how hard it would be.
Yeah. What used to intimidate you before, and does it still?
The whole thing was intimidating, but one of the things that really stood out for me was that people actually are going to read it.
Mm.
Because again, when I wrote it, it was for myself. No one was going to know about it. And I almost had a panic attack the day before my book was released because so few people at that point had read it. I did not have critique partners. I did not have, a community. I didn't even have my friends or my family read it.
Mm.
So the only people that had read it were, some agents who had asked for, a full, the full pages, or my editor who I worked with at Read Adept. That was it.
Yeah.
So that was really intimidating because that night I was like, oh, this is no longer my story. It's out there.
Yeah.
And so I still get a little intimidated when I played a tennis match not long ago, and I kind of knew my opponent, just through passing for years. And she was like, Hope, I read your book. And I felt so exposed at that moment. I was like, oh, I hope you like it. So it's intimidating and lovely too when anyone
Yeah.
takes the time to read something that you put so much time and effort into.
Yeah.
So
It always surprises me when I'm not at a book event and somebody says, "Oh, you're the author. I read your book."
yeah,
And I'm
isn't
like,
that yeah. What intimidates you about writing?
you know what really intimidated me was having to talk about my book to
Mhm.
people. Um, whether it was a small group, like a small book club, or at a big event. I
Yeah,
went to one event and there were like 150 people at it. Um, it still intimidates me a little bit. I still get like nervous. I don't get nervous when I'm talking to a small group. My ideal group is going to a book club at
yeah,
somebody's house. I love that. I love that question and answer exchange. But when I have to get up and do a presentation, even though I'm a teacher, this blows people's mind because I pretty much do this every day. But it's different when you're talking about yourself and your work than it is, talking about somebody else's piece of literature and
yeah,
their work.
yeah.
So I still am a little intimidated by that. I won't lie. I still get like butterflies before. Um, but we've talked about this too. When one thing that I said to myself is that I always dreamed of publishing a book. So I'm just going to embrace everything
Yeah,
and walk through my fears.
yeah,
And so I'm still walking through that fear. Maybe at some point I'll get comfortable. Maybe I never will,
yeah,
but I will not say no because I'm not comfortable.
yeah. I did a speech on the power of embracing the word yes,
Yeah.
because it really did change my perspective. When I started saying yes to things, one opportunity would go to another opportunity, and it just kept leading to, more things I got to do. So, because I was so used to saying no as a mother, I feel like that
Right.
was my go-to word. So I do like embracing that power of saying yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question. So I want to have Donna of 2022, 2023, when you were getting ready to be published.
Okay.
What were your goals then? And
Mhm.
have those goals shifted as being a goal as a writer?
Um, so my goals then were really just to finish a book. Just finish a book, have it be something that I was proud of, and hopefully put it out there to get picked up by a publisher. Having said that, and having published 2 books at this point with a third on the way, um, my goals now are to I don't know, I have a couple. Obviously, I think every author would like to be on the New York Times bestseller list. I think every author would love to have one of their books adapted. That's like big, cloud in the sky goal. Um, my more practical goals are just really to write better, to continue to hone my craft and continue to do things a little bit differently than I did the last time. One thing that I knew when I published my first book is that I wouldn't be somebody who would write a series. Um, I want to do a little something different in challenging my style of writing every time I write.
Nice. I like that.
Thank you. What about you?
My goal is to start querying, like get my second book out there. It's
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah.
I just need to do something with it. And I think also my life the past 6 months has been a lot. And so now
Mhm.
that I am fully moved in, life is quiet down. I don't have the children activities that I once did. My goal is to be a focused writer, to get back into writing every day,
Mhm.
and to maybe try to get not a first draft once a year, because I've got so many ideas, and you and I've talked about those ideas, and I just need to actually make time for my writing. I make time for everything else. I need to make time for my writing.
Yeah. Yeah. How has your confidence in your voice, your stories, and your place in the writing world evolved?
That would insinuate that I have confidence. I'm still always I'm always questioning myself. But
Yeah.
you know, I will say that that one's a hard question, because I feel when I'm writing, I'm kind of exposing so much of myself. So I kind of always am second guessing, which is, I think, is one of the reasons why I just don't have the confidence to get that second book out. So if I knew the answer to that, I think my second book would already be out by now.
Yeah.
What about you? Because I don't really, I'm confident in my story that I told,
Mhm.
in both books. But I don't know if I could ever say I'm confident as a writer because there's so many things I need to work on and improve on.
I remember I have a very distinct memory of one of my colleagues because I had been querying my book for a while and sharing it. And she said, "Have you ever thought of self publishing?" And this is not to throw any shade at anyone who is self published because I understand what goes into self publishing and it's a lot. At this point, I don't know if I could do it
Yeah.
um, because now I realize on the back half when you're having to market, you have to do all that by yourself too. Um, but at the moment, in the moment, I said to her, I really feel like I need a traditional publisher to publish my book because I feel I need to be validated in terms of my skill as a writer. And I totally lacked confidence in that. Like you, I shared my writing with very few people
Mhm.
prior to getting published, especially that first time. I feel I do have a confidence in my writing skill now. I feel like that coupled with feedback that I've gotten from my readers and editors have given me a certain level of confidence. And I also have learned just from myself, like I confidence needs to come from within,
Yeah.
that it shouldn't have to come from an outside source.
Yeah.
And I maybe I needed that just kickstart to give me that validation to just help the little voice in my head say, "Oh, okay, you do know how to write a book. You
Yeah.
can do this." And I think now I do have that inner confidence that I didn't have before.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to ask each other one more question each before we go
Okay.
to our quick fire questions, something that we do with our authors that we interview. Um, when did you feel like a real writer? And has that feeling ever changed?
I always felt like a real writer. I did not going back to the validation thing, I I made a distinction between being a writer and being an author. And to me, being an author meant being published. And so maybe the bigger question for me is when did you feel like an author?
Hmm.
Um, when when I got that first yes.
Yeah.
So prior to that, I feel like I've been an author I mean a writer forever. I've always been writing.
Yeah. Okay.
How about you?
It was really weird because, again, I told you I stumbled upon writing, but it was, of all things, it was an Uber driver driving me somewhere, and he said, "What do you do?" And it was right when I got my contract, and I
Mhm.
said, "I'm a writer." And he said, "Well, have I read anything you've written?" And I said, "You will soon." But I did not use the word author until after my book came out. And I don't know why I was so nervous about saying, because at that point I'd been writing, because I've been writing that book for, a couple of years, but I
Right.
never would tell people, I would never refer to myself as a writer. And it was really interesting because a few years ago, we interviewed someone who said, don't use the word aspiring writer. If you're
Mm.
writing, you're right. You're a writer. And I
Yeah.
love that. I never ever use that word aspiring anymore. You're not an
Mm.
aspiring writer. If you're writing a journal, you're a writer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that changed my perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Sue Williams Silverman. That was a good interview. Um, so can I ask you one more question?
Sure. Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give to your earlier writing self?
Well, I can't say confidence because right now I am not the most confident writer. I would, the best piece of advice I would say is live in the moment. Like I was so busy when I would go from one I was so busy trying to get my book out there. I wasn't savoring every moment
Mhm.
because I don't know if I savored the day that my book came out enough because I was thinking, "Oh, I've got to do this." I was always living, "Okay, I've got to do this and this and this." Yes, plan for things, but when those special moments happen, take a moment to just inhale, exhale, and say, wow, this is happening to me. I wish I'd savored my book launch a little bit more because, again, I was constantly thinking, oh, I've got to do this, I've got this, I've got that.
Mm.
And, and now I slow down. Even when someone like left a review today, I was like, I'm going to slow down and read it and savor it. So I would say, instead of being worried about what's coming next, actually enjoy what is right in front of you.
That's great advice. I love
What,
that.
what about you?
I would have to say believe in yourself and
Yeah.
take risks on yourself. You put yourself out there because even if somebody says no, you're never going to get a yes
Yeah.
until you put yourself out there. And I can't tell
100%.
you how often I've thought to myself, if I only did that sooner, where would I be in my writing career today?
Wow. That is good advice as well. Okay, so real quick, we're going to do some quick fire questions. These are
Okay.
going to be rapid fire. So I don't, we're running out of time, and I want to get to as many of these as we can. So why don't you start first?
Okay. What song has been running through your head lately?
Oh, this is terrible, but Golden. It's that song from K-pop Demon Hunters. It won the Oscar, and I keep hearing that song 24/7. I love it. You should check it out.
I will. I
And it's
will.
funny because my question for you is, if your writing journey had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh, God, that you're stumping me there.
I love how we both started out because that was my first question. It was a musical question.
Um, Page by Page, and I can't remember the artist's name.
Oh,
It's about turning pages, and I feel like I've done that a lot in my writing career.
okay. I love it.
All right, next one. Not book related. What has been your proudest accomplishment?
My family. I know
Yeah.
that must sound cliche, but um, my family.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched, Catherine what's her last name? The one who plays Moira Rose on, Schitt's Creek.
Oh, yes.
Catherine
Catherine
O'Hara.
O'Hara. Yeah, she just
Yeah.
passed away.
Somebody interviewed her and, they asked her that question, and she was like, "First, last, and always my family."
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think a family has to be it for me. And I'm sure for you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What is a book or a movie that has had a significant impact on you?
Um, I'm gonna say Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I've talked
You
about this.
you love, yes, that's your thing.
Yeah, yeah. She's my icon, my writing icon. Um, do you prefer talking or texting?
Talking. I'm a terrible texter. You can ask anyone. I am the world's worst texter.
I can
So
count.
yeah, I am. But I'm a great talker.
Yes,
I will
you
talk
are.
all day on the phone. Okay, what's a hobby or a skill that you have wanted to pick up but you haven't?
Painting.
Really?
Yes. I would, you know what? My sister was an artist and did the most beautiful paintings. And I always thought I would love to be able to do that. I don't have that talent. I've tried. I know I can probably try more than I have, but I would love to paint. It just seems like such a zen hobby to me.
I love that. Okay, we both have time for one more.
Okay. What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Uh, Pepperoni, mushrooms, olives, onions.
Wow, that's quite the combination.
I know. I've always liked that. And don't even get me started on, like, you cannot have chicken on pizza, you cannot have barbecue on pizza, and you cannot have pineapple on pizza. I cannot do
I
it.
agree with all of that.
I mean, I could pretty much eat anything on pizza, but oh, and green onions. Sorry, forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm in with a food one too. What is your comfort food and why does it hold a special place in your heart?
Huh. I'm going to go with pizza. Pizza is my number one favorite food. Um, I think it might hold a special place in my heart because I live very close to New Haven. New Haven is like the pizza capital of the United States. If you have never had New Haven pizza, you have never had good pizza. Um, my grandmother used to bring me to Pepe's and Sally's and Modern when I was young. And so I think that's where my affection for pizza comes from.
I love that. Well, this was so much fun just to get to kind of
Yeah.
reminisce and it was good for me to kind of look back at my 2003, 2004 hope and
Yeah.
getting ready for, maybe a soft launch here in June in 2026 of a new hope. So
Yes.
this
I
was fun.
honestly, I just want to say to our audience that what I've read about Hope's next book is wonderful, and you need to get on that.
Well, and I can't wait for the audience because they will be reading your book soon because your book will be coming out by the end of this year, I think.
Yes,
So
I think so.
congratulations. And also
Thank you.
kudos because your audiobook for Of Lies and Honey just came out. So
It did.
congratulations. And I think that we need to make a toast I make a toast to you, Donna, but also to all of our listeners and our audience. Thank you for 3 amazing years. I still can't believe it's been 3 years.
I know. And I also want to toast to all of our guests that have been on and taught us so many things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank
Cheers.
you so much for everyone. And happy anniversary, Donna.
Happy anniversary to you.
Until next time.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Hope Gibbs.
And I'm Donna Norman Carbone. It's time for you to get to work.
We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks with another tip from your author friends.